Welcome to this Sunday's Gospel Reflection. Well, people of my age surely remember the rickety but loved old Malta buses. Traveling on one of the old bangers was in itself an adventure and a long, bumpy ride into raw humanity. It was a time when people still talk to people on buses. Well, a small rowdy group of teenagers were having a good time at the back of the bus, playing rough and making a pest of themselves, annoying the other passengers. They started getting on my nerves with their foul language and rough behavior. But at one point, a young mother with a toddler, carrying a baby as well as a heavy shopping bag, was struggling to cope with the load. She needed to get down at the next stage, but could hardly make it. All the bus was looking at the struggling and panicking young mother. No one budged to help her, except the leader of that rowdy, rough youngsters at the back of the bus. He got up, grabbed the folded pushchair as well as the heavy shopping bag, turned to the young mom and told her, "Okay, missus, you take care of the kids and I'll take care of the buggy." And lifting it high above the passengers' heads, he then took the buggy and the shopping basket out of the bus. As he passed the driver, he turned to him and roughly warned him not to dare move the bus before the lady and her children were safely out of that bus. It was, only after opening the buggy and helping the mother settle her baby and child safely on the sidewalk did he climb back on the bus and gave permission to the driver to start moving again. I was fully absorbed by this scenario and could not help kicking myself for having so harshly judged those youngsters for their rough and rowdy behavior. The ringleader could not resist the deep goodness, the kindness, the gentleness within him once he noticed the difficulty of that overwhelmed young mother. Of all the correct, perfectly behaved passengers, including myself, it was he alone who sprang up to do something and help that panicking young mother. Was that young man a devil or an angel? And the answer is both. He reminded me of another sinner saint. In last week's Gospel, we met Peter, the insightful and prophetic disciple of Jesus, who, inspired by the Holy Spirit, made the most impressive profession of faith in Jesus. "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus declared him blessed, confirmed him as the first pope, trusted him with the care of his own church. Yet, as we read in today's Gospel, this was the same Peter who now Christ called Satan, which means devil. The same Peter to whom Christ entrusted his whole flock was now the obstacle preventing Jesus from accomplishing the mission for which he was born. Peter was the only disciple who was so madly in love with Jesus, who had the deepest, greatest faith in him. It was he who recognized Jesus for who he truly was, the Son of the living God. He was the closest, the most intimate with Jesus, and yet he was the weakest. He fully and squarely betrayed, denied Jesus. The blow of an intimate and close friend is the hardest and most painful betrayal of all, and that was Peter. Was he a hypocrite? Was he a fake disciple? Was he an inconsistent, self contradicting, opportunistic disciple? Our answer would surely and spontaneously be a deafening and forceful yes. Yet Jesus had a different and yet more forceful answer. And Jesus replies, no. Peter was not a rascal. Peter was not a saint. Peter was a weak lover, a deficient disciple, an inconsistent, self contradicting, but well meaning and faithful disciple. He was like that young man on the bus, who was a devil and an angel at the same time. And he was not alone. Peter was not alone. The adulterous woman in the gospel was indeed a sinner, but yet a lover of Jesus, all in one, just like the other disciples, just like you, just like me. We all have sinned much, but we all are capable of loving much. Which reminds me of that other giant of an apostle, St. Paul, the second column on which the Church of Christ was built. Yet he was humble enough to admit that he too was an angel and a devil at the same time. Just remember what he wrote. I don't understand. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate to do, I do. It's no longer I who do it. It is the sin living within me. I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do. And this I keep doing. You see, no one is pure, no one is perfect, no one gets it right all the time. Holiness is not about getting it right all the time. Holiness is loving, giving all that we have, even if it is limited, poor, fragile. God asks us to love Him and our brothers, our sisters, with all our heart, all our soul and mind. This doesn't mean that we have to get all things right. It simply means that we lovingly give all that we have at any given moment. When I am tired, I give a tired kind of love. When I am strong, I give a stronger kind of love. God is not asking us to be the best. He's asking us only to do our best. No one is either a devil or an angel. We're all part devil and part angel, part generous and part selfish, saints and sinners, human and divine, all at the same time. Holiness is not overcoming all our weaknesses and defects. It means loving and faithfully doing and giving all we can, all we have at any given moment. So when you succeed to do something beautiful, be careful. Don't think that you have finally made it, that you have become a saint. That's pride. On the other hand, when you fail and you feel you're a disaster, do not label yourself as hopeless, incorrigible, a condemned sinner. That's depression. When you do something good and beautiful, just say thank you. Rejoice in it. Move on. When you commit something ugly, just say sorry. Be humble, admit, learn from your mistake, but just move on. Remember Peter. He was not chosen by Jesus because he was a good and perfect disciple. He was chosen because of his deep and genuine love for Jesus. When all was said and done, what saved Peter was not his perfect love for Jesus. It was his love for Jesus, but even more, it was the love that Jesus had for Peter in his weak and fragile but genuine goodness. You see, love is true love when it is humble, when it is fragile, but when it is faithful. Love is not true just when it is perfect. So don't be afraid of the devil within you. Keep on believing that deep within you there is also a wonderful and amazingly beautiful angel capable of reflecting God's own goodness to others through you. God is perfect. He is total, absolute goodness, and only He. But He has planted His goodness in our weak and fragile hearts. He does not expect us to become the best. He simply rejoices in seeing us struggling to do our best. The only thing He asks of us is to generously and humbly share what we have with the other weak and fragile hearts of our brothers and sisters. Like that young man on the bus, we need to help a struggling brother or sister to discover the angel that is waiting to be discovered deep within our hearts. God bless you and thank you.